If you are a homeowner in San Francisco right now, you might be feeling pretty confused about what's happening with homes that are sitting on the market. Because honestly, inventory is still really low, interest rates have stabilized compared to where they were before, and buyers are definitely out there, especially in the neighborhoods that have high walkability, iconic views, and the latest trend is easy access to downtown. Neighborhoods like South Beach, Soma, and Dogpatch have seen a huge increase in demand due to all the AI companies moving their headquarters to San Francisco and expanding their workforces. But here's what's also true: some homes just aren't selling. Today, I want to walk you through exactly why your home might not be selling, and more importantly, what sellers are getting wrong before their home even hits the market. Because here's the thing: success in this market isn't about getting lucky, it's about having the right strategy from day one. If you're new here, I'm Lisa Vikovic, a San Francisco real estate agent, sharing everything you need to know about the San Francisco real estate market and what it's like living here. Today, I'm going to give you all the information you need to know if you're thinking about selling your San Francisco property, or if you have a property that's been on the market and it's not getting any offers. Okay, so let's talk about some reasons why property values have changed in the past year. The number one reason is homeowners insurance and insurance companies who have left California because of all the fires that they've had over the last couple years. The insurance companies that are still covering properties have really strict criteria on what they will and won't cover. It's been such a big ordeal. Insurance contingency that is now added to the purchase agreement so buyers can back out without losing their deposit if they can't get reasonably priced insurance. When looking at comparable home sales, sellers don't always realize that the other homes have made some improvements that you can't necessarily see from photos, but they do add significant amount of value. Most insurance companies will not cover homes that have old electrical wiring, brick foundations, or old roofs. This makes buyers left with paying a high insurance bill because they have to use the state fair plan in order to cover the property. So it's really important to factor that in if you have a house with dated electrical, brick foundations, or an old roof. It's going to limit how many buyers you're going to get offers from, and they're going to factor in the cost of needing to make those improvements when they're making their offer. For condos and high rise buildings of 12 stories or more, the city has a city sprinkler ordinance that could end up being very costly if they are forced to comply with it. There are 136 buildings impacted in San Francisco, and so far the city has moved the timeline out 3 years, but they have not eliminated the ordinance. I made a video all about it, giving you all the details about the San Francisco sprinkler ordinance, so make sure to check it out. And if you're not aware about it, you need to know how this is impacting homeowners and property values. In some buildings, it could cost up to $400,000 per unit, and buyers don't want to be stuck with that bill. I've also noticed a number of condos where HOAs do not have sufficient funds in their reserves. There's deferred maintenance, and a number of condo buildings that have ongoing lawsuits that could put the buyer at risk if a settlement needs to result in a special assessment. All right, so the next piece is something I literally explain to every seller I work with, and that's the difference between market value and market reaction. Market value is the data that says what your home should be worth. It's the comps, the square footage, the recent sales in your area. It's basically the spreadsheet version of your home price. Market reaction is how a buyer actually responds when your listing goes live. And here's the kicker: you can technically be right on the price and still completely miss the market. Here's why: because buyers need to feel like they can see themselves living there. They're asking, does this feel worth it? Does this feel better than the other homes I've seen? Does this feel like something I need to jump on right now? If your home launches and buyers hesitate, even for 1 or 2 weeks, that hesitation becomes the new narrative around your listing. And once the listing has a story like, oh, it's been sitting, it's really hard to rewrite it. People start wondering what's wrong. They assume that there's a reason it hasn't sold. And even if there isn't, perception becomes the new reality. So when I'm working with sellers, I'm not just thinking about what the home's worth, I'm thinking about how buyers are going to react the moment it hits the market. Let's talk about pricing because this is where a lot of sellers get it wrong. And I see this mistake constantly. Pricing based solely on what the last comparable home sold for, like that house down the street sold for 2.3 million 6 months ago, so mine should be worth that, right? But remember, you need to factor in the insurance and if there's things that that house had that your house doesn't. Having a brand new roof on a house versus a house that needs to replace a roof in 1 or 2 years is something that gives buyers a peace of mind and it will get more offers on a house that needs work. They're also going to compare this home to what else they can buy right now in the same price range. It's also important to see how many buyers are in each price range. An example is a listing I had where the sellers wanted to get at least 1.4 million. I was able to look up how many buyers were actively looking in that neighborhood and in what price range. There were a handful in the 1.3 to 1.4 million range, but tons of buyers in the 1.1 to 1.2 million range. So we listed it for 1.195 million, making sure that there's a larger buyer pool so we could get multiple offers on the property. And we ended up getting multiple offers after 2 weeks. There's always going to be buyers who make offers around the list price, but when you have 8 offers, the serious buyers know they need to go much higher than the list price. Versus if we had listed it for 1.3 million and only received 2 offers, it might not have even gotten to 1.4 million. The home ended up selling for 1.47 million, which was more than the comps, and the sellers were super excited. And if you're sitting on the market for 30, 45, 60 days, you've lost your best chance because by then you're not the new exciting listing anymore. You're the one that didn't sell. So if you're wondering, should I relist my house or why isn't my home selling? This is often the answer. The pricing strategy didn't match the market reaction. Okay, next up is presentation. And I know this might sound superficial, but hear me out. Most buyers decide how they feel in the home in the first 60 seconds, sometimes before they even walk inside. That means the photos, the listing description, and the curb appeal and the way the home's staged all matters even more. The photography, especially, if your listing photos don't grab their attention from the first photo and keeps them wanting more, then you lost their attention. They're not giving you the benefit of the doubt. They're not thinking, oh, hey, I bet it looks better in person. They're thinking next. And I see sellers underestimate this all the time. They think, well, the buyer can repaint that or they can replace the carpet. It's just cosmetic. But here's the thing, buyers don't want projects right now. They want a home that feels easy and they can say yes to. They want one that's been painted and clean and has a sense of pride of ownership. The homes that sell the fastest and for the most money are the ones that are turnkey and staged well. There are the ones where buyers can just walk in and immediately picture themselves living there, where everything feels polished, intentional, and ready to go. You don't need a full renovation, but you do need to think about what buyers see and feel in the first few moments. Because if they're hesitating in the photos, they're definitely not coming to the open house. All right, here's the part that's a little harder to hear. but it's important. A home can be beautiful, the neighborhood can be exceptional, the bones of the house can be perfect, and the timing can still be wrong if the strategy isn't aligned with what buyers are actually looking for. I've seen it happen over and over. Two similar homes, same neighborhood, same price range, same square footage. One sells in a week with multiple offers, the other sits for 2 months and eventually sells under asking. So, what's the difference? It's not the house, it's the approach. Selling well in today's market requires a few things: understanding the buyer's psychology, of what makes people feel urgency versus what makes them wait. Knowing how to launch a listing, not just putting it in the MLS and hoping for the best. Anticipating objections before buyers even voice them, so you can address them up front. This is why working with somebody who understands both the data and the emotional side of buying is so critical. Because you can have all the stats in the world, but if you don't understand how buyers are actually making decisions, you're going to struggle. So, what do smart sellers do differently? In my experience, the ones who succeed in the market do three things very well. First, they prepare early, way before the listing goes live. They're getting estimates on staging, painting, and making improvements months before it goes on the market. They're not scrambling the week before to clean out the garage or touch up the paint. They are strategic. They're intentional. And the second, they price with intention, not hope. They're not pricing at the absolute top of the range and crossing their fingers that some buyers fall in love and want to pay that. They're pricing it in a way that creates competition, that makes buyers feel like they need to move fast or they're going to miss out. And the third, they want to work with somebody who understands both the market and the buyer mindset. Somebody who knows what's actually selling and what buyers are saying behind closed doors and what objections are coming up. So they know how to position the home and overcome those objections before they even become a problem. They don't chase the market, they lead it. And that's the difference between a home that sits and a home that sells. Now, if your home is already on the market and it's been sitting for a few weeks or longer, what do? First, don't panic, but also don't ignore it. If you're not getting showings, the issue is usually price or presentation. Buyers are seeing your listing and deciding if it's worth it or not. If you're getting showings but no offers, the issue is usually the home itself, either the condition, the layout, or something that's not translating from the photos to the in person experience. Either way, you need to diagnose what's actually happening. And that means being honest with yourself and with your agent. Sometimes the answer is a price reduction. Sometimes it's taking the home off the market, making some changes, and relisting it fresh in a few weeks. Sometimes it's just better marketing. But the worst thing you can do is nothing, because every week that goes by, your home becomes less desirable in the buyer's eyes. Not because anything changed about the home, but because the perception does. So, if you're asking yourself, should I relist my house? The answer is yes, but not without a plan for what you're going to do differently the second time. Okay, so let's wrap this up. If you're thinking about selling a San Francisco property and your home, or if your home's already on the market and you're not getting results you want, I'm happy to be a resource for you. Whether you're planning to move this year, you're trying to figure out if now's the right time, or you just want a strategy conversation about what your home could realistically do in today's market, let's talk. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button. And if you want more insights on San Francisco luxury real estate, then make sure to hit that subscribe button for more local insights on San Francisco real estate. My name's Lisa Vukovic, your local San Francisco luxury real estate agent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.